Right now, if you ask what are the challenges facing your community or the country, people will say polarization, or we don't understand each other, we talk past each other.
Disagreeing with each other is part of being human. So I'm curious about how we can become more self-aware, how we can get more curious, how we can do that in community rather than in isolation.
There's a lot of division, there's a lot of fear and anger, but there's also an innate hunger to connect with each other because we are all neighbors. There's a hunger to be seen, that we all feel like we've been overlooked. There's a tendency for us to silo ourselves.
We've lost a lot of what community means, so we're trying to build a sense of community, and that's got to be through connection. How is my story, your story? What is your story that I relate to?
We're creating conditions for people to connect across differences of background and belief, thinking about the big questions that lie beneath how we live in community. And we make space for questions that all of us have inside. Oregon Humanities has to help so that we can think about them together. That's one of the things that we do well in our magazine, in our podcast, in our onstage conversations, in our community conversations, really hearing other people who will also hear us. That's what we are increasingly recognized for doing.
What Oregon Humanities does well is acknowledge the uncomfortable, acknowledge the potential for not feeling like this is my safety bubble, and also making it safe to feel uncomfortable in that space.
Oregon Humanities is one of the only organizations that has this unique perspective on every different community in the state. They have shown up to be a witness and to be a cheerleader and to be a reflector for rural communities and for urban communities and everything in between. And that's about presenting and supporting cultural programs in each of these places and inviting different voices to the table. And it's about the longevity of Oregon Humanities. It's an organization that has grown and evolved over time, as in the same way that the state has.
Understanding of others' stories leads to compassion for others, and then compassion leads to empathy.
Very quickly, people become open-hearted and kind, and people see the connections between their different cultures and their different backgrounds and upbringings, where nobody's trying to sell anything or convince anybody of anything. We're honestly just trying to explore who we all are in this state and how we live together.
So doing a conversation, being a part of a group of people, I feel like it's an act of empowerment to defy the ways in which othering has divided us.
Oregon Humanities, they're about telling the stories of Oregonians and everything that branches out from them in their lives. I've seen people, there is a craving for it. They really want it, and they're searching it out actively. Oregon Humanities, they allow for those things that really matter. Authentic storytelling, meaningful conversations and connections. Everything that makes us human is what they're about.
One of my big hopes around the work is that we internalize the idea of democracy so that it's more than how we vote, but instead that it's knowing we care enough about the other people in our community that we are happy to give up some of what we want because we understand more about why it matters that all of us get some version of what we're after. What our work can do is it can anchor people more deeply in their community, and it can remind us that it actually takes very simple things to improve the way we live together.